Hello everyone, Tom with Capo Fetish. Today on the channel we're going to talk about some latest cult album discoveries. I have this long list. I finally pulled the trigger on a handful of these. I'm going to start off here with an album from 1972. It is Wishbone Ash's Argus. This is an album that for years I've heard people talking about, praising this album. Even people on the channel have recommended it to me. A couple years ago, my sister sent me a YouTube video of Leaf and Stream, and that's what really got me interested in it. This song, Leaf and Stream, is kind of folky and just really amazing. And upon hearing this for the first time, what blew me away about this album was the harmonies. The harmonies were just, I'm a harmony freak, so anytime there's like really cool harmonies, good material, I go nuts. That first track, Time Was, the way it starts off, kind of clean and slow, and then it builds up, and these backup vocals and harmonies kick in. Fantastic. Sometime World, Blowing Free. What I really love about this album is that I love the guitar interplay between Andy Powell and Ted Turner. Of course, the vocal harmonies along with that. Just the whole like varied guitar textures going on throughout the album. It's not just one guitar sound. There's clean guitars, there's distorted guitars, there's acoustic guitars. It's that rare combination that it's hard to get right between like hard rock, prog rock, and kind of folk. You know what I mean? It's all just done really, really well. And I think what took me a while to get into this album or even want to listen to this album is that my brother-in-law had their album, There's the Rub, and I found that really underwhelming. I thought the cover sucked, so I just kind of wrote Wishbone Ash off. I was like, eh. But over the years, a lot of praise for this album, a lot of people just going, you got to hear this, and finally pulled the trigger. I think it's fantastic, just absolutely fantastic from start to finish. Those 7 songs, and the way the Warrior segues into Throw Down the Sword, so good. This CD version adds 3 bonus tracks from their Live from Memphis promotional EP. I think it was a live in person radio station appearance. And those 3 tracks are Jailbait, The Pilgrim, and Phoenix, which are really, really cool as well. But there's nothing like those first 7 tracks, which encompass the entire album. Really, really good stuff. Glad I finally discovered this. Thanks for suggesting it out there. I'm glad I finally picked it up. I've been listening to it the past couple of weeks, and really, upon each listen, I just get into it more and more. So good stuff here. Wishbone Ash Argus from 72. About 3 years ago, I picked up The Pretty Things, their album SF Sorrow from 68. Another album that had been highly praised. I was introduced to The Pretty Things with their British invasion type stuff, their kind of more rhythm and blues based stuff, and I really couldn't get into that. But as I kept hearing more and more about SF Sorrow, I was like, God, I got to get it. I listened to it. I loved it. I loved the bonus cut. And I always thought, is there anything else along with SF Sorrow that has that kind of vibe? And then other people suggested on the channel, pick up Parachute. So I picked it up from 1970. And this album, too, really has a lot of high points. I wouldn't call it a 5-star album. There's a lot of, it's like a mixture of like really well-written songs with just kind of like more kind of mediocre rockers, should I say. The highlights for me are the moments when they're doing those harmonies, like they do on SF Sorrow. I mean, they really, the Pretty Things really, really do harmonies well on these albums. I love Phil May's vocals. I like the way the album starts off with this kind of 3-song suite. Starts off with The Good Mr. Square, She Was Tall, She Was High, and In the Square. Is a really cool way to start the album off. I think some of my favorite songs, though, are when they're kind of like laying low, laying back a little more, without like, cranking up the volume and creating more kind of folk rock. Songs like Grass are amazing. The title track, Parachute, is really incredible. And kind of like this SF Sorrow CD, which offers like about 4 or 5 bonus cuts, which were all stellar. Same thing goes for this version of Parachute. The bonus, 3 of the 6 bonus cuts, I think, are as good as the songs on the original album. Those songs being October 26, which really has this kind of like CSN kind of harmony vocal blend, which is really cool. Another one called Summertime, which is really uplifting. Another one of the bonus cuts. And another one called Circus Vine, which ends the album. So I think it's fantastic. I think I'd like to make my own kind of mix of this album, kind of throw out the songs I don't really care for, maybe make like a 10 10-song kind of version of this album for myself, but I think it's fantastic. It has elements of SF Sorrow, maybe not really the psych element, but there's definitely more of that early 70s folk kind of singer-songwriter vibe mixed in with like kind of hard rock, or should we say just good old rock and roll. Good stuff here. Parachute from the Pretty Things from 1970. Are there any other Pretty Things albums that compare to this album and SF Sorrow? Let me know in the comments section. I'd appreciate it. Here's a really, really cool album. Someone had suggested on the channel a while back. I finally looked into it, and it's Sybil Bear, her album Color Green. This is really cool. It's literally 30 minutes long. So Sybil Bear, she was a German actress and folk singer. She made these home demos between 1970 and 73 on a little like reel-to-reel. 30 years goes by. Her son makes like a compilation CD for the family of these recordings to just listen to, right? One of the CDs ends up in the hands of Jay Mascis from Dinosaur Jr., and he ends up getting this stuff signed to an independent label called Orange Twin Records. And kind of like Rodriguez in a kind of different kind of way, it's become like this big thing, right? It's like these recordings were just made for, you know, home use, and now they're all over YouTube. Some of her songs have had millions of views. It's just incredible. How would I describe the music? I would say it's kind of like a mixture of like Leonard Cohen, Nick Drake. I hear a little bit of Nico, just as far as like vibe, you know, that kind of melancholic vibe. I even hear a little bit of Astrid Gilberto in there. But yeah, it's kind of like a blender of all those mixes going on. In fact, I think she's kind of playing like a classical guitar like Leonard Cohen used to do, that kind of nylonic, you know, classical acoustic. But yeah, I mean, it takes a few plays to really get the gist of it. Some of the songs don't really follow that verse, chorus, verse pattern. But her voice is really cool. It's very, very melancholy sounding. And I got to admit, for just home recordings from like 70 to 73, these sound really amazing. It's just her and guitar only, vocal and guitar, but it's really, really cool. So if you've never heard this, pick this up, Sybil Bear, Color Green, and it's kind of like, it's a real treasure. So check it out, Sybil Bear, Color Green, on the Orange Twin Records label. Another one, too, I've heard about for years. Never really pulled the trigger, but I had to go online and listen to it, and I like about 3/4 of it. And that is the album by Judy Henske and Jerry Yester, the album called Farewell Alderin. Farewell Alderin. This was originally released on Frank Zappa's Straight label in 1969. Didn't really sell a whole lot. This is a reissue from Omnivore Records. Has this kind of cool, I think this is the only reason why I bought it on vinyl. It has this really cool splattered orange vinyl. But how would you describe this album, right? It's kind of all over the map. The first track, by the way, Judy Henske, by the way, has really quite an amazing voice. She was kind of labeled like the queen of the beatniks from what's that guy's name? The guy Jack Nietzsche. Back in the 60s, early 60s. She was playing a lot of folk clubs, playing folk, playing jazz, doing a little bit of humor. On this album, she kind of showcases all her different vocal stylings. The first track is a track called Snowblind, which is very bluesy and raw. It sounds like nothing else on the album. It doesn't really prepare you for the rest of the album. You're like, oh, is this going to be kind of a bluesy album? No. The second track called Horses on a Stick is like full on like Sunshine Pop. I really love that track, Horses on a Stick. And then by the time you get to the third and fourth track, she goes into like full on like melodramatic kind of vocal stylings. And first time I heard those two tracks, they're called one's called Lullaby and another one called St. Nicholas Hall. Very, very over the top, just over the top kind of melancholy, very, you know, just over the top, just emotion going on, right? But I think it's kind of growing on me a little bit, those two tracks. Other highlights on here, would be, there's a track on here called Charity, which is the second to last track, which is just a fantastic pop track. Really, really well produced. And then you've got the closing track, the title track, Farewell Alderin, which is like a psych freak out. So it's kind of, there's 8 tracks or 10 tracks on here, kind of all over the map. Blues, sunshine pop, kind of torch songs, psych, pop. Would I say it's all great? I wouldn't say it's all great. I'd give this album maybe a 3.5 to 4, but it's very, very interesting. You know, if you're into like kind of these late 60s cult albums, psych albums, it's all there. You know what I mean? So Jerry Yester and Judy Henske's album, Farewell Alderin from 1969, another just nice little jewel here. So if you have any more to offer up in the comments section, let me know of any other cult album discoveries you have found that you want to offer up. I'd like to discover more. Let me know in the comments section. As always, thanks for watching. If you dig the content across the channel, press subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.